Now, the court order allowing a Cape Town advocate to commit suicide with the help of a medical doctor will remain in force. This is even though Robin Stransham-Ford died before the order was granted. Judge Hans Fabricius says it concerns a matter of public interest and could affect more people than just Stransham-Ford.
Standing firm behind his groundbreaking ruling, Judge Fabricius refuses to set aside his order. He says in the absence of legislation on assisted suicide, courts have to look at the matter on a case-by-case basis and make a decision based on the facts of each applicant, but in acknowledgement that his ruling may have a ripple effect.
I am of the view that this decision of mine ought to be decided by the Constitutional Court.
Opposing parties are set on appealing the case.
We would like to see this judgment declared of no force and effect by reason of the applicant having died, and also see a situation where this judgment is not used or followed by any other court.
For now, though, the assisted suicide order stands. Judge Fabricius indicated that the appeal application will be heard by the 2nd of June. Sipho Stirman, SABC News, Pretoria.
Yesterday, the court order allowing terminally ill Cape Town advocate Robin Stransham-Ford to commit suicide with the assistance of a medical doctor will remain in force despite him dying from natural causes hours before the order was granted, making the case null and void. Judge Hans Fabricius refused the application by the government and the Health Professions Council to revoke his order because this individual court case has become a matter of public interest and could affect more people than just this single case. Joining us in studio today is Pro-Life South Africa, Dr. Claude Newberry, who is we've also invited Dignity South Africa at the last minute, but they declined. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us here. Why do you think this has become such an issue? It's been bubbling under. Yesterday we spoke to Wits University Law Clinic's Alton Hart, who's been saying that, in actual fact, this is the second case that's been granted.
Yes, well, the whole issue really is the involvement in this case, or assisted suicide, the involvement of the medical profession. Now, the problem with that is the medical profession is a profession devoted to the healing and the preservation of life. We should never become involved in the eradication of people. And even to assist a person who wants to commit suicide, and there are many circumstances when people feel, gee, I'd like to get rid of my life, I can't tolerate my unhappiness or my pain. And in this case, this very unfortunate gentleman in Cape Town with very severe suffering as a result of terminal cancer of the prostate gland. So one can understand and one can sympathize in a way with the person's inclination. But suicide itself has always been a subject that has been taboo in morality, to kill yourself. But also to involve the medical profession to become complicit in the killing of a person by prescribing medications that that person could take to kill themselves, or by actively giving an injection or giving the pills. If they were to give the pills or to use the injection, then of course they would be involved in euthanasia. Whereas this is assisted suicide. So euthanasia and assisted suicide, they're very close together in discussion of medical morality.
Doctor, let me ask you this question. We've seen so many issues around this being brought up, the right to die, dignity, the right to life, questions related to all of these issues. Is pro-life against the involvement of doctors in assisted suicide, or are you for somebody who has the right to die with dignity?
No, what we hold is, the pro-life movement is that human life is sacred. That
irrespective?
Irrespective.
Okay.
And that therefore all life should be preserved. And therefore the taking of any innocent human life is something to be abhorrent to society, as it always has been in
Even
the
if the person requests and medical evidence shows that this person's quality of life has degenerated.
Sure, and these are very sad circumstances, and being in practice for so many years, one often came across patients who had intolerable suffering, and even the most advanced palliative care, you couldn't really always control their suffering adequately. And so the inclination was to, gee, I'd like to end my life. Can you help me, doctor? Well, of course, the medical profession is, as I say, devoted to life, right from the time of Hippocrates, 2,500 years ago, 500 years before Christ. Hippocrates laid down in his oath that the medical profession would never be involved in the taking of human life. And as a result of that oath, we transformed the whole occupation of medicine to a profession totally devoted to the service of human life. As distinct from the situation before, where shamans and witch doctors could take life, or they could heal people. They could kill or heal. And so for 2,500 years, until fairly recently with things like abortion, the medical profession has always felt that the taking of innocent human life is abhorrent. And in the Hippocratic Oath, doctors were not even allowed to prescribe anything that a person might use to kill themselves.
Doctor, I want to talk about the fact that this case will be heard in the Constitutional Court. But before we go there, I just want to get a sense from you. There are doctors that are willing to help in this assisted suicide, and there are doctors against it. Where do we find ourselves in that conversation? Because as a doctor, somebody who's been practicing for years, you're against it, but there are doctors who are pro it.
Yeah. Well, of course, it all comes down to two things. It comes down, first of all, to your individual conscience. Everybody has a conscience, and that conscience would advise you whether a thing is right or wrong. And naturally, conscience should be not only formed, but informed. And that's the first thing. So individuals, as individual doctors have become involved in the killing of the unborn by abortion. So, and there are others again who are absolutely, they feel that the taking of those lives are abhorrent. Therefore, there's that. But there's also the whole of the medical profession as a whole. Why should a judicial diktat involve the whole of the medical profession? Of course, the doctor is free to do it or not, but this sort of decision changes the whole debate. And instead of it being a constitutional debate or a debate open to public opinion, or perhaps even to a referendum on the issue, an individual legal decision can swing the whole thing on the opinion of one individual judge.
So we have to wrap this up very quickly, Doctor, but you're pro the Constitutional Court getting involved and deliberating on this matter very quickly.
And also the medical profession itself. The South African Medical and Dental Authorities should be involved, Health Professional Council. They should also, and they should protect doctors who do refuse to become involved in killing, just as they should protect them.
Those that are willing.
As they should protect also doctors who refuse to become involved in abortion.
Doctor, we're going to leave it there. Interesting conversation. I think we should continue and pick this one up after the Constitutional Court ruling. That, of course, was Dr. Claude Newberry, who is from Pro-Life South Africa, sharing their sentiments on a debate that has become quite contentious within the public environment. Let us know what you think. It's SABC Newsroom. That's our Twitter account.